So for the past 2 years, I've been working tirelessly to try to figure out what my purpose is. And not just my own purpose, but I've also been trying to figure out what is it that's going on in life? What is it that's going on around us that is causing people to lose meaning in life? That is causing them to not be able to find their true purpose? And I've really been racking my brain on this. I've been spending probably way more time than I should trying to think about this. And I've actually come to realize a few things. And one of the most profound things that I'm starting to realize, especially as I get older, and I really dive deeply into this, is that I truly believe that the idea that we have to have a purpose in order to be fulfilled in life is the original illusion. I think that is the original illusion that is actually keeping us trapped and that is making most of us very unhappy with our lives. Because let's think about this for a second. Who are we to think that we're so special that we have to have a purpose in life, that there has to be some sort of higher meaning to all this and something that we have to strive towards in order for us to be fulfilled, in order for us to live a purposeful life? Who are we to believe that? And why are we so different than every other species on this planet that seems to have it all figured out? Because let's think about everything else on this planet, on planet Earth. Dogs, for example. Dogs are put here to exist. They chase animals, especially wild dogs. They chase animals, they hunt, they pack together, and they do dog stuff. They do wild dog stuff. Wolves, they don't chase prey and think that, man, I wish I could have chased that prey a little better, and now I feel bad about myself because I didn't catch that rabbit the first time around, or I was not as efficient at catching that rabbit as I should have been, so therefore I'm inferior somehow. They don't think these things. Nothing else in our world thinks this way. We are the only ones. And in the case of wild dogs and wolves, they do what they do. They do dog stuff. And if they don't catch the rabbit the first time around, they keep trying until they catch the rabbit. And when they catch the rabbit, they don't care how long it took them. The only thing that matters to them is that they got a meal. They were able to eat. That is what's important. And those are the fundamentals. Those are the basics. And I think these are the things that we've actually lost touch with, are the basics. We've lost touch with the fundamentals, the things that are actually important. And when we really drill this down and think about what's important, it's not the stuff we're going after. It's not trying to find purpose and getting a job and having a career and buying all this stuff. It is none of those things. I would say that our purpose is actually simply existing, being in this world. And I'm starting to believe that we are born into this world perfect, the way we're meant to be. So the idea that we need to have a purpose is the idea that we are not perfect, or that we are not happy with ourselves. Because again, if you're always striving to better yourself and you're always striving for more, that in itself means that you're inadequate because you need something else to complete you. But if you really think about this, all of us are born into this world just like everything else. We are born, I would say, from the earth into the earth. Everything that makes us is the same thing that makes everything else in this world. And everything else in this world doesn't seem to have this problem. We are the only ones that believe we are inadequate, that believe we need all this extra stuff to be happy and to be fulfilled. And if you think about other things in nature, trees, for example, they fall from the fruit or from the nut or from the seed into the earth. They grow and they do tree stuff. They sway with the breeze. They drop their leaves in some cases. They grow and then eventually they die, and then they're put back into the earth, and then that in turn grows more trees because it nourishes the soil. And that in itself, just being a tree, is the tree's purpose. And again, you can think about this for pretty much everything else on planet Earth. Water, the sky, the wind, soil, everything. These things have a purpose, and their purpose is simply being what they are. It is fulfilling their role in this symbiotic relationship with our world. And, you know, we have these big old brains and we're so sophisticated, but I think we let that get in the way, because what it does is it causes us to believe that we're not part of this world, that we're somehow separate because we're more sophisticated. But when we think that way, and humans in general do think that way, we get stuck in this mindset believing that the world should revolve around us. And when you believe that the world should revolve around you and that you're the center of the universe, it can be really easy to get main character syndrome. And what happens when we do that is it becomes very easy to start comparing ourselves to other people, because we feel like we have to be the best version of ourselves at all times. And again, when you're trying to be the best version of yourself, you're essentially trying to be somebody that you're not. And that right there just basically means that you're not happy with the person that you are, that you somehow believe that the person that you are is inferior and you're inadequate. And that creates this spiraling loop. It's a perpetual cycle of never being fulfilled, never feeling that you have purpose. When we're doing this, we're essentially training ourselves to believe that we're inadequate and that there has to be something more, because the world that we're born into isn't good enough. The body that we're born into isn't good enough. So therefore we have to improve. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with improving yourself, but I think there has to be a balance and there has to be a line that we draw for ourselves. I think it's high time that we realize and understand that we're perfect the way we are. We don't need to change ourselves and change who we are fundamentally just because society says so. And the reason I believe this is the original illusion is because I believe this is the thing that keeps us trapped the most. This is the thing that has us going out, striving for validation, striving for needing to better ourselves in life, and needing the big house and the nice car and all this fancy stuff, and buying into consumerism and participating in society as we know it, modern society. This is the thing that keeps us in that cycle. It's the thing that keeps us comparing ourselves to other people. It's the thing that keeps us working every second of our lives away because we have to have all that money so we can buy all this stuff. It all ties back to this idea that we're not good enough, that we're somehow inadequate, that somehow we are different from every other thing on this planet, because us simply existing and going through life, experiencing the ups and downs, the highs and the lows, somehow that's not good enough. Somehow it has to be perfect all the time. But that is going to do nothing but leave us disappointed, because life is not sunshine and rainbows all the time. It can be great and it can be really bad. But I think our true purpose is just existing, being who we are, being authentic, being ourselves, and doing what we do, just like everything else on this planet. Because I think if we are true to ourselves, we are authentic, and we simply exist, I think we'll find our purpose. Because I think we'll find that our purpose is simply doing that. And I think we'll also find that when we do what we do, and not what society tells us to do, the things that we end up doing are going to be very fulfilling. And those are going to be the things that probably have the most impact on the world around us, because we're then living for ourselves. We can be free. We can use our imagination. We can unleash our minds. And essentially at that point, the sky is the limit. We can do whatever the heck we want, because now we're living for us. Now we're living for simply existing instead of striving towards something, instead of having to work and get all this money and get all this stuff, because when we do that, we're giving up our time. And that is time that could be spent doing what we do, existing in this world, experiencing the highs and lows, and going about our lives just like everything else around us. And I truly believe that by doing that, we're going to start to find meaning in life. We'll start to find our purpose, and we'll start to feel fulfilled, because we are living for us. We're not living for anybody else. We're not comparing ourselves to other people. We're not striving for all this stuff that we probably don't even really want. And we're not running ourselves into the dirt. Sometimes it's just a matter of slowing down and stopping to smell the roses. How many of us in our modern world actually do that these days? How many of us slow down and just take it all in? Be in the present and experience the world around us like everything else seems to be able to do. But we are the only species on this planet that can't figure this out. We have a very hard time rationalizing, slowing down, and just existing. We believe that when we do that, we're somehow wasting our lives. But what if by us doing the opposite, that is actually us wasting our lives? That is us wasting the best part of our lives. And that is us giving ourselves away to external factors, things that don't even actually matter, to people that don't care about us. Instead of focusing on ourselves and being true to us, we're giving ourselves up. And when you really think about that, that's a very sad thing. That's very disheartening. And I think it's high time that we realize that we're perfect the way we are. We don't need all this stuff. We don't need all this external validation. We can validate ourselves. And while I do think it's very important to have something to strive towards and something to look forward to, something that's going to get you out of bed every single day, maybe this is it. Maybe focusing on getting back to this and changing our mindset about the way we view the world and how we live our lives, maybe that is the thing to look forward to. Maybe that's the thing to believe in. Maybe that is going to be the thing that brings us purpose and meaning in life.